Hey everyone. All right. Haven't done a live in a long time. Excited to be here. Had a great therapy call and was discussing um, a lot about grief and birth and release and sex and how a lot of these experiences have the potential to heal us deeply, heal our inner child, heal generations of trauma once we connect with our ancestors. And um, the thing is, there's a key to these moments being healing. It's not just healing just because of the intensity of the moment, it's healing because of the release. It's healing because when you are faced with these intense feelings, these intense moments, especially vulnerable moments, really physically vulnerable moments that feel somewhat undignified in like a modern sense, which I don't even connect with that theory that something is undignified that way, um, except for abuse, of course. So basically, when we're faced with these intense moments, physically, emotionally, spiritually, as birth and death, and even sex can be, how do we fully release into these moments? How do we take that intensity and not freeze up in the moment of the intensity or of the physical pain or the emotional pain? One thing I like to remember in moments like this that challenge me deeply, especially as a trauma survivor and an abuse survivor, it turns out I freeze up a lot. When I was getting ready to have give birth to my first child, Selah, I definitely found that those the contractions, the feelings of awareness in my body that something was spreading and opening and moving and changing, and that something that was inside of me for 9 months was coming down and out, and that I would have to be responsible for that happening efficiently. That as a trauma survivor made me freeze and face up to my rigidness and my inability at that moment to fully let go to this experience, let go of my control over it. And that need to control our experience actually really hinders our body's natural release and chemical flow that will help that birth or the grief or the sex be efficient and be enjoyable and be safe and be the way it's meant to be. But in typical American, typical modern culture, especially American culture, we are taught to keep that dignified nature up, be civilized, do not release, do not fully flow with, and enjoy the situation that you're in. And birth, especially as well as grief and death, is really almost given almost like a dirty nature, something we aren't encouraged to discuss or face or talk about or think about. But the truth is, what if you can learn how to release, learn how to breathe, flow, release your body, and therefore release into this transformative experience, and actually enjoy these moments, even grief? I've experienced grief in a way that at first I freeze up, and when I can flow, release from the top of my head down to my feet, wow, grief is, well, it's just as beautiful and sensual as birth. It just requires a bit of sadness as a part of it, but it turns out that's nothing to be feared either. Life is meant to be lived, not clung to. Lived, release, let go, like a breath, not clung onto. And since most of you are here for birth education, we're going to talk about birth for a minute. So, as I kind of described how my first births that first felt, and I got to the point of being able to have the ecstatic birth that a lot of you have witnessed, um, by breath, by releasing a constricted chest, by releasing a constricted belly, by releasing a constricted pelvic floor. Literally imagining a clenched up part of my body. So take the top of my head, clench that top of your head. With the inhale and with the exhale, fully release. And as you move down your body, you will find more of a cognizance and awareness to that part of your body. And in birth, especially the pelvic floor and the belly, um, neck, shoulders. This all helps this flow of energy so that when the enjoyable emotions, sensations, or the painful ones come up, you can take everything that occurs to you, everything that passes through your mind, tense it, feel it tense up, and then release. And if you actually visualize your breath moving down, down and out, breathing down, as we call it in birth work, it is so powerful for energy flow. So powerful. And th- that can only fully be enjoyed and experienced by release of control of the situation. Realizing that your body, someone's pounding on my door, that your body is in this moment, whether you like it or not, and that your body is meant to do incredible things. But first, you must literally just experience it as an onlooker, embrace that this intense thing is happening to you, breathe, release control, and then you will find the transformative power, the transformative strength, and joy that comes from releasing control. Because it turns out your human control of a situation, especially over your body or a birth process or a grief process or sex, it serves nothing. Your human judgment, your human background, your human pain, it serves nothing because you're a spiritual being and your body is not you. As we've learned in death, I've lost many things, many people, many creatures, and their bodies are not them after they're gone. It's not. So if you imagine in birth, in grief, in sex, your body being a conduit for your spirit, but that your spirit doesn't need to control what your body is doing. I hope that makes sense in a birth sense to you. And I hope that, especially if you're preparing to give birth, you realize kind of what I'm describing, that control serves nothing because you should have a team of experienced individuals surrounding you that will guard your experience and make sure that you are safe so that you can just release to the birth hormones, to the birth experience as it is, because their job is to keep you safe. Your job is to be in the moment and be a birth goddess. So, um, again, this is my first live in a while, so I hope it was somewhat able to be followed. But as you know, I'm usually pretty non-scripted, and I just wanted to kind of cover that topic real quick because I definitely discussed in a really good therapy session not feeling the need to control everything around me, but also practicing responsible awareness and control over my actions. And I think that in birth work, it's really important to give women the control over their reactions and their actions, but not over their experience. Well, that's not true. Take control of your experience, but when you're in the birth experience, release control to yourself. Does that make sense? Take responsibility over your experience in the planning stage. And then when you are in it, in the thick of it, when those intense feelings and emotions come up, or the fears, or even the pleasurable sensations, just let everything flow through you and release it and let it out because birth is not a one dimensional experience. There's so many dimensions that come in, through, and out of it. So many: fear, sexuality, ecstasy, orgasm, grief, pain, loss, um, physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain. It all comes into the same experience. It all coincides and works together for a really transformative birth experience. And if you can look for the bliss and release the grief and fully experience it all, that's when birth becomes transformative. Okay. I will do more streams like this because I enjoyed it, even though I think only one person joined. But I hope everyone that watches it later can enjoy. And please do check me out on Patreon if you want to see the birth videos in action. Thank you so much to the people who have subscribed this month. I love your support. Maybe I'll do a live stream where we kind of call out the people who have been supporting for a long time. I haven't forgotten any of you. I think you all are amazing. I keep doing this all for you guys, and I am so grateful. for this community of birth enthusiasts and birth givers and birth caretakers. So, anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.